Welcome to Business Talk Sister Cock. I'm Becca, and today's episode is Instagram secrets influencers won't tell you. And the reason why we're doing this episode today, and with me today, by the way, I have Mia Holmes.
Hello. Wah, 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 wah.
Who is my sister, so that's pretty fun that we're doing an episode together.
The youngest one.
The youngest sister I have, that is correct. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about specifically Instagram for this episode. And I know that I've just done like the whole history of marketing. I've been meaning to do a series of episodes after that on, okay, what do you do with this information now? And some of the things that I've been experimenting with are part of this series because I think it's important to look at social media holistically and do not get ahead of yourself in the process, especially as a business owner or somebody who wants to become self-employed through building a digital presence, all that kind of stuff. So Instagram is going to be the topic that we're going to cover first. So I did an experiment on this with my Instagram page for 90 some days. And one of the things that I discovered through this process, which by the way, it was a temporary experiment because I like to do research and development, and anybody can do this. Like really you can, but the reality is that like you have to understand the intentions for why you're doing it to not get derailed by the psychological issues of social media. And I mean that like wholeheartedly. And I don't think that Instagram influencers, people online that are building a brand really talk truly and deeply about the emotional side and the psychological side of running something like that. And I want to be real about it because I think that if I just say, here's exactly how you do this, and then give you none of the other psychological pieces of it, I'm setting you up to be emotionally ruined. Like I really do feel that way. And I guess like obviously some people have more wherewithal than others, but in general, I mean, I would say that I try to take good precautions either way just to make sure that it's healthy. And so with that being said, I'll give you a little bit of background about how we're going to do this episode. So this is actually going to be an educational training for Mia on Instagram in this process because she is going to be building her professional development art residency. And I had another artist here before, Jenny Bergstad, who was amazing. And now we have a new resident artist and Mia wanted to come and work with me. So that's why she's going to be doing all of these techniques herself and practicing. And so I knew I needed to do this training with Mia anyways. So I decided we're just going to do it as a podcast at the same time.
Because I found out about this about 3 minutes ago.
Yes. So I was like, hey, I'm going to teach you all this stuff before I leave for the day, but we're going to record it because I want to make sure that other people have access to this information. So here's what I've learned, first of all, with Instagram. Consistency is so much more important than is the type of content. But with consistency within your niche, which, you know, there's a whole bunch of things for me about like me feeling personally like Instagram, don't tell me what to do. I can be more than one thing. But for the purpose of growth, you do have to be one thing, and that's it. Because the way the algorithm works is it's trying to really focus and narrow down on a search topic and then serve that to the same people who may be interested in that. And as the algorithm looks at what you like, you click on, you watch repeatedly, or you share, that's who they then say, you're this audience, and we are going to show, since you liked this, you probably will like this too because the last person that watched this video and liked it also liked this other content. So they try to like really bucket you into one category. And that's like if you're just using Instagram for watching funny content about like dogs or whatever, like you're just going to get a whole bunch of content about that, right? But if you have a diverse viewing of content, your algorithm is constantly trying to figure out who are you, right? And so all of that is being fed to you based on what the algorithm watches you interact with in the past. And if you're not careful and you just get hooked on one thing, that's all you're going to get for the future, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that has
Or
that
if
been,
you get sent that info, that stuff.
like if other people start sending you that
I got a
stuff?
whole bunch of memes from my online friend, and then all of my Instagram from that time was like super not okay.
Because you're like, wait, stop sending me this.
This is like all terrible stuff.
Somebody else's sense of humor is bombarding you. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden Instagram thinks, oh, you're friends with such and such, and they like this stuff, so you must like it too, which is also a little bit scary.
I was like, no.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some pieces of that. So, but because Instagram is really trying to make money on niching people into a specific category, they're going to serve that to the same group of people. So, with my experiment, what I decided to do was I was going to tell a story, the same story over and over again, different ways. And I was going to do that through building out a door. And it's a antique door that I wanted to do a replacement of a side door in my building with. And it's nothing that interesting for the most part to me, of like, oh, it's a door. Like most people are like, okay, big deal. But who I asked to come help me was a couple different people, but one of them was John Michael Cook, who is a fantastic artist, by the way. And this is for the art gallery Instagram page that we did. And what I did is I just said, John, I want you to teach me some of your woodworking skills, because he is, I don't know, in some ways like so much like a Leonardo da Vinci of like, he can do anything. I mean, this guy, like, he's designed models for architecture to save money there. He used to be a Disney Imagineer. Like, he's got like, he can do the design and then the fabrication. Like, he knows how to do lots of stuff. And he used to be a carpenter. So he has a lot of like carpenter terminology that I've never heard of before, because he's in his 80s and he has a lot of knowledge that I'm just like, I want to capture it. You are so valuable to me in regards to the generations you've been through, the work that you've done. I just need to understand what you are doing in a way that, like, just talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old, because I'm going to admit I don't know everything, and I don't claim to. So please teach me like I don't know anything, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And being humble about that, first of all, super important on Instagram. I mean, if you claim to be an expert in something and like people are like nailing you with stuff all day long, it can be really emotionally exhausting. So for me and for what I'm doing with my business, I want to remain humble, because if people are going to attack me in the comments, I'm going to be like, well, I'm really sorry you feel that way. I'm just learning. And that is all my life. I will always be learning. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't claim to be like amazing at everything I do. I am good at a lot of things, and I'll tell you that I'm good at them, but at the same time, I'm open to improvement all the time.
Yeah.
And if you can approach what you do on Instagram or any social media platform with a sense of humbleness, it's going to keep you emotionally sane long term. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then as John has been teaching me these different things, I just like, go ahead and tell me about that. Or like, I've never heard that term before. And I just start asking questions. Wait, back up. What does that mean? And then I take a video of it. And these are just everyday things in my life that are going on. And what I've seen with Instagram specifically is reels do way better than still images.
Right.
Oh, fantastically better. And they spread way faster because Instagram has tried to mimic TikTok in the way that the swiping works and all of that.
And you can repost and save and send.
Yep, exactly. And so that's kind of where I started, was just like, I don't want to just do content of me being like, hey guys, I'm Becca. Like, I'm going to talk to you about this. I mean, there was some of that where I was like, I'm going to show you specifically these tools and how to use them, because I know how to use stained glass cutting stuff. And those tools did really well. But I would say that what was interesting is I first started with hashtags specifically in woodworking, because that's where we started and that's where John was helping me. But the thing is, my art project was way bigger than that, right? So I wanted to do a stained glass installation on a argon gas-filled panel, which we're still working on, and it's coming together. It's very exciting. But with that process, those tools are different. the audience of stained glass is different than woodworking, which was an interesting transition of what I saw in the data. Okay. So when we first started, I realized that the growth that we started getting consistently fast was actually from a really interesting target market. It was around 20 to 45-year-old men for the most part. Because, first of all, John is an 80-year-old guy. And all of a sudden I started realizing, wow, these dudes, and like, they were so respectful. Like, wow. I didn't even have to like comment when people would say mean things because these guys would like go after other people in the comments. It was like amazing. I was like, wow, I love this because if I were to do that content, and which I have done like some construction content around tile and all that kind of stuff, people rag on me because I'm young and I'm a female. And so it's like, what do you know about this? Get off the internet. You don't know what you're doing. You should pay somebody to do this rather than you doing it yourself. I'm like, well, then I'm robbing myself of the learning experience. But anyways, so I realized most of these guys see John, who, by the way, 80-year-old demographic is actually very limited on social media. We have a lot of people 60 to 70, but there's not as many 80-year-olds. So like the target of these guys are like, oh, this is like my grandpa, or this is like my dad talking to me. I want to listen. And they're like so respectful. And when anyone was being disrespectful, they would go after those people in the comments and be like, dude, have some respect. This guy is a master. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that to me was amazing, like such a cool experiment. But I kept my hashtags, like I always tried to do art gallery, art studio, woodworking. And the woodworking hashtag within that, like that's where we really got traction. And some of the stuff, I mean, like I'm not doing the experiment anymore, so I'm still getting followers from those videos, by the way. But then I had another guy who's also like kind of, I think he's in his 80s too, who comes in, and his name is Gary Lubica, and he is fantastic as well. Another just
70s.
70s maybe? Yeah.
He's a young 80
Which
if he's 80.
BT dubs treasure as well. You gotta go look at
I
them.
love these men.
They are fantastic, like such wonderful guys. And like one of the things I noticed too is like I at this time period was very exhausted because my youngest is like not sleeping at night, and so I was getting up all night long trying to deal with that through like the teething and whatever else. And so in one of my videos that did really, really well, it's over 1 million views, whatever, and in that video, I'm listening to him talk to Gary, and he's talking about light reflection and how if you hold a bright object up to a wall, it reflects the light from the bright object against the wall. The wall may be white, but when you're painting, you have to think that your eyes don't see what they think they see. And there's more color reflection of other objects bouncing off of other objects because light reflects to other things.
John or Gary?
That was Gary.
That was Gary.
Yeah, but you know what? Gary has taken a lot of classes with John on art, which, by the way, Gary is also a fantastic artist. And a geologist, by the way.
And just like anything.
Yeah, he can figure out like some really cool stuff. But anyways, so with that process of posting that video of Gary, so the other thing that we did is every time we would put out a video, and a lot of the content that they did, fantastic, like learning and just tell me about that. I want to know about this. And they love sharing, right? And it's also kind of fun because like they don't see it. They're not emotionally impacted by looking at the stats every day. And that's a huge thing that I think is important. When you are posting content, you cannot be watching everything that happens. It will crush you emotionally, and it will make you feel super empty or sad or super elated and excited. And it is this like weird place because your body is a dopamine factory. And so what I had to do, and I realized like a lot of the techniques that I used for Instagram, I realized are the same techniques that day traders use. And I didn't know that because dopamine and fear are the two major influencing decision-making things that 95% 5% of the population uses to make their decisions every single day. And that's not healthy when you're trying to make money on financial trades.
Right.
Because your psychological will get you to a place where either you fear or you're greedy. And then all of a sudden you lose everything. And that's when people like talk about how like trading is like gambling or whatever. Well, it's really not if you stack your odds and you're the casino, right? Casinos are always willing to gamble with you if you go there, because the odds are stacked in their favor. And similar to day trading, if you do it right. But within that, you also still have to be mentally checking yourself all the time, or you will succumb to fear and you will make stupid decisions. And it's the same thing with Instagram. And that's what I think Instagram influencers maybe don't realize, or people who are using social media platforms, but that's what I've realized. And that's why I'm sharing it, because I think that if you are not careful about checking yourself and disengaging, you are being fed the same thing as like if you were to go to the casino and the odds were not stacked in your favor. You are the consumer, right? Because a lot of the people that created the infinite scroll came from the casino industry. They came out of those places and got hired on by Facebook and got hired on by Google and all of these things. Even your Gmail is created in a way to make you addicted to it by checking your phone constantly. There's things within your phone that are super unhealthy for you, and they were built that way to make somebody else money. And so like, and quite honestly, I think I've only ever spent like a couple bucks on a boosted post one time. Actually, I don't even think I did that. I think I started and then I just never put my card in. So I've never spent money on advertising with these companies. And part of the reason I don't is because if you just listen to my history of marketing podcast series, it's because I ethically don't feel right about contributing to what they're doing. And even like the fact that I did this experiment was like a struggle for me, because I was like, I know marketing is important. I understand marketing. I've taken tons of classes on it. I have a degree in business, but like, is it healthy to feed the engine that makes people's mental processing and emotional states worse? Am I contributing to the problem?
Right.
And so for me, that's like a really big, like, where do I stand on this? And how do I reconcile that in my mind, right? And for me, like, that was something I had to really think through of like, do I really want to become famous online? And the reality is I don't. And that's why I didn't keep going with this. It was like, I know I can do it. I know I can teach other people to do it. But like, is it good and right and healthy for me to focus my life on that? And for me, it's just personally, it's not. It's not my like gratification of where I need to be affirmed in life.
I don't want to have like a super big presence anyway, because then when I post my memes on my story, people are going to be like, oh,
well, okay.
What is this? I love posting funny memes.
But let's just back up, all right? So like the first hook is important.
Right.
And doing that in a written form, I found, is best. And that's what I put on my Instagram. Like when I do it afterwards, and I put my still frame as what's on my Instagram page when you go explore into the actual profile.
Right.
It'll say like my watch me get roasted by my teacher or something like that. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, what is this? And they want to watch. But I also have captions on everything, because what I found is a lot of people are doom scrolling at night, and somebody else may be sleeping in the same room, and they're trying to be quiet, and they're only watching videos that have the audible turned off. And so the captions are very important. And I've also found, for me personally, and this is something that I got feedback from my son on actually, is that he was saying, I don't read the captions or watch videos that have fancy captions, because I just like the ones that have like the captions for like disability and whatever that Instagram already has in there. Because when I see that it's like a fancy caption, I know somebody paid more for that they were a business, and this probably is an ad of some
What
sort.
do you mean, a fancy caption?
Well, it's like different color. It's not the Instagram
Oh.
innate caption.
Yeah, no, I don't look at those.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it's created by like an AI support thing, like CapCut or something. And I've tried CapCut, like I've tried lots of different platforms to see what works and what doesn't, but that's kind of where I landed was, okay, I'm going to use the captions within Instagram.
Yeah.
Now, Instagram just made some new changes that are more focused on using their Instagram edits, which is like another app that's outside of the platform. I don't really like that one as much just because when you have to like push it back into Instagram, it's harder to edit if anything needs to change and you catch it later. You're like, oh shoot, like you can't go back in. I mean, you can download the video, which is nice, and then you can upload it to TikTok. So it does make it a little bit easier if you're doing multi-purpose.
And they limited my hashtags. I love my hashtags.
Everybody had that happen to them.
Yeah,
just
why did they
recently.
do that?
Okay, so that just happened, and that means you can now only do like 5 hashtags.
Yeah, 5
because the algorithm is still trying to push into this box. They want you to niche into one category, and so keeping consistent with your hashtags in the category that you decided you want to be known for. So like for you, you are going to be in artist. And if you want to know more about this, we're going to take it in the next episode. So we are going to be talking about specifically like the artist side of things for you in a little bit. But if you want to know more about that, we'll be covering it in a couple more episodes on Instagram because these are all things that I've learned. And I really, really think it's important for other people to think through how they're using social media with their business as they're doing it. But we're going to transition to the gawk portion of this episode. And we're going to talk about yesterday was Valentine's Day. Or no, today's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, today's Valentine's
But
Day.
yesterday was my Valentine's Day giving of things. And Mia got some flowers from me, but you are going to tell me a little bit about that.
So I was working on some stuff back here. I've been working on this stained glass piece that I keep messing up that Becca wants me to get done. And I turned around and I was hearing footsteps. So I turned and her husband Joel is just standing there. I was like, oh my, what? Joel, what are you doing? He's like, just hanging around. He's got like a weird little smirk.
I told all of my family, drive over to the gallery. We are going to go give Mia flowers together. So he gets there before I can find a parking spot. So apparently he just walks in and like is just like just hanging out, you know.
He had like such a big smirk on his face that I was like, okay, something is definitely going on. Because I went to the bathroom right after. I was like, okay, they're either announcing another pregnancy or something is happening.
We're not having a baby.
No.
For the record.
And I was like, okay. And then I came out and Becca comes around the corner, scares the absolute crap out of me. I was like, oh, great.
Oh, because I was hiding
you.
behind a giant painting for her to come around the corner, and then I'm like, surprise!
And I myself am not very good at receiving surprises or gifts or anything
So
kind of
she
like,
looks at me like I just handed her a bag on fire.
I was like, oh, thanks. Well, I really like it. I love drawing flowers. Flowers are like my favorite thing, but I am not good at receiving gifts at all, unless it's like free food, in which case, thank you.
In which case, yes.
But yeah, I kind of feel bad. I do that all the time. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, I'm not very good at receiving gifts. I should work on getting better.
I like arrange that flower arrangement because
it looks really good. There's
you.
hydrangeas and roses and baby's breath and
it's so cute. It's
I
so
don't know
cute.
what those are. Daisies?
Accents, yeah. Okay, anyways. We are going to continue our Instagram series in the next episode, so you should give this a review wherever you are listening, and we will see you next time.